Hi there booktube, it's Eleanor here, and today I'm doing my top books in the adult and new adult genre from 2050. I've got about 6 books to talk about, but 2 of these books are in a book series, so I'm going to talk about those 2 first because I don't actually own the copies of them. I have been getting them from the library, and that is Jill Shalvis' Lucky Harbour series. Majority of the books in this series have been a really solid 4 stars for me, but 2 of them, Simply Irresistible and The Sweetest Thing, were both 5-star reads for me. I absolutely loved them. This is a series which is an adult sort of romance chick lit type series, which is set in Lucky Harbour, which is a small American marine type town where everyone knows everybody else, and we follow in sort of 3 book arcs different people. So in the first 3 books we follow 3 sisters, and in each book we follow one of their love interests, and then in the next 3 books we follow 3 friends who meet up to sort of commiserate over chocolate cake quite regularly, and we follow their romantic endeavours over 3 books. And there's always an array of really funny comical characters who are in every book, my favourite being Lucille, who is a Juicy Couture type velour tracksuit 70/80-year-old smoker who has an obsession with putting everybody's lives on Facebook, which I think is brilliant, and it's just a brilliant series, and I definitely recommend that if you're on the lookout for something like that, this is the one to go for. There's 12 books I believe in the series. I am slowly working my way through them. I have to stop myself because I just gobble them up, but there's 12 books I believe in the series, and I'm thoroughly enjoying them. Next up is a new adult read, and I really enjoyed this. This has had mixed reviews from other people, but it was a 5-star read from me, and it's A Pound of Flesh by Sophie Jackson. This is the story of Kat, who as a child witnessed her father being brutally beaten to death, and it's the story of Wes, who is a troubled, or was a troubled teenager, is now a troubled grown-up, and is in prison. Kat is working with the prison in teaching English, and the 2 meet, and sparks fly, and sexual tension arises, but it's much more than that. I thought the story is much more than that. The themes that are explored are much more than that, and I really enjoyed this book, and I know it's got mixed reviews from other people, but it was brilliant and I loved it. Next on my list is Ruby by Cynthia Bond. I read this a couple of months ago. I absolutely loved it. It's a really interesting story, and one that I wasn't quite sure I was going to pick up, and then thankfully I saw that Mercedes was reading it, and I was like, let's buddy read it, and it forced me to pick it up, and I'm so pleased that I did. I absolutely adored this book. This book is set in a small East Texan town, and we follow Ephraim and Ruby, and we follow them flitting from present time back to the 50s when they were children and they met, and in present time, and we also, there is sort of a voodoo element to this. There is a lot of triggers for this. If you have trigger warnings for sort of sexual abuse and paedophilia and things like that, then definitely don't read this. But it is a truly powerful, moving book in my opinion, and often I struggle with magical realism and that type of thing, but this one I just couldn't put down, and I found myself crying a lot, and it really stayed with me. One of my next favourites was Americanah by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I love all of her books, but this is the one that I read this year, and it was a definite 5-star read for me. She has such a wonderful way of writing. Her descriptions are really evocative, and I just find her reading very captivating. I just don't want to put the book down. It totally engrosses me. I feel like I know these people and that they're part of my life, which is such a great experience when you're reading a book about, you know, someone's life. The plot isn't terribly driven by plot, it's more driven by the characters and their journey, and often those books aren't for me, but I absolutely loved this. We follow Ifemelu and Abinze. They are young friends and and have a romantic link, boyfriend and girlfriend. They're both teenagers in Lagos, and then Ifemelu goes over to America to study, and Abinze tries to follow her but struggles, and it's just about the struggles of identity and who you are and what you want to be, and racial tension and racism, and a story of growing up and finding out who you are, and it's a brilliant love story, and I absolutely loved it. And then finally, an author that was new to me this year, I loved Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. This was my first Sarah Waters read. It's definitely my favourite Sarah Waters that I've read so far. I've read this one, Tipping the Velvet, and also The Little Stranger, and this is definitely by far my favourite. It's set in 1862. It's kind of a crimey story. It's about one girl, I don't want to say too much because you don't want to sort of spoil things, but it's about one girl who is set up to work as sort of a con person in a big mansion house, and there is a lesbian relationship that occurs with her and somebody else, and it's following both of these characters. It's just brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I don't want to say too much about the plot of this one because it is literally sort of reveal after reveal after reveal, but it was such a brilliant story, so captivating. And again, I don't often read books that are set in these sort of time periods. They're not really ones that appeal to me, but this one really drew me in and I really enjoyed it, and it was a 5-star read. So that is my top adult and new adult books of 2015. What are yours? What are your top books that you've read in these categories this year? Let me know in the comments down below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye for now, BookTube.